Norman Scott was born on August 10, 1889, and died on November 13, 1942, when he was 53 years old. Scott served in the United States Navy as a Rear Admiral and was a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient during World War II.
Scott first enlisted in the United States Navy when he was 22 years old. He was in the United States Navy for over half his life, for a total of 31 years. His reasons for enlistment are unclear. However, Scott was appointed to the Naval Academy by Senator Beveridge of Indiana in 1907.
Before being appointed, he attended and graduated from Shortridge High School. Scott's father and mother seem to have zero military ties, but it is yet unclear whether he had any relatives that had military ties. Lastly, Scott received the Purple Heart Award. This award is for anyone who served in the United States Army forces that have been wounded or killed while serving. During the first few months of World War II, he was appointed to the office of Chief of Naval Operations, and in May he became Rear Admiral and was sent to the Pacific. Scott commanded fire support for the naval battles of Guadalcanal and Tulagi in August.
For the next 3 months, Scott continued to lead surface task units, during which time Guadalcanal began to intensify. On September 1942, Scott was appointed the commander of Task Force 64. He trained his combat group in maneuvers, gunnery, and night fighting. Then on October 11th and October 12th, 1942, Scott led Task Force 64 to victory in the Battle of Cape Esperance.
The victory was the United States Navy's first surface victory of the campaign. Norman Scott's legacy.
Scott was a hero, and in memory of Admiral Scott, the ships USS Norman Scott DD-690 and USS Scott DD-995 were named in honor of him. The Scott Center Annex in Virginia was also named in memory of him. The Norman Scott Natatorium in Maryland and Norman Scott Road in San Diego were also named in his honor. Battles Norman Scott was involved in:
the Battle of Guadalcanal, the Battle of Savo, the Battle of Cape Esperance. He was also in the U.S. Naval Mission to Brazil, and he was in the Battle of Tulagi. Norman Scott won the Congressional Medal of Honor because of his courage, heroism, and bravery in the Battle of Guadalcanal, where he sunk 8 enemy vessels, Cape Esperance, where he led Task Force 64 to the first United States Navy's surface victory of the campaign, and for the Battle of Savo against Japanese enemies. During the Battle of Guadalcanal, Scott led his troops with courageous skill and superb coordination despite the odds.
Knowing that he might not make it, Scott directed close-range operations against Japanese vessels. Scott showed leadership, initiative, and his invincible fighting spirit. As a Rear Admiral, he showed that he was willing to die for his nation and never give up even with all the odds in his favor. That is why he was given one of the most prized medals a leader can ever have, the Congressional Medal of Honor.